Morning, sweetie. How are you? So it's garbage day, okay? So for the past, just so you know, like, cause I sit like at the side of the house for the past, sweetie. This is just one of like the things that I've been doing. Like I've been trying to fix, like I've cleaned out the whole of the side of this guy's yard. My landlord. He's a good guy. I messaged him again yesterday. I thanked him again. I apologized for all the madness, right, sweetie? So I just put out the garbage here, and I had to spend some time because I do this every week. Like last month or a couple of months, I come out here every week, like when I remember, and I'll put the garbage out, and it's like they will not take it. Like they'll take other people's stuff. And so this is just one of the many battles that I've been fighting. Like want to live in a nice neighborhood, okay? I'm a security guard trained person, okay? And everyone up and down the street knows me. They all know me. Like the kids will shout out to me, "Hey, how you doing?" and stuff like this. Right now, sweetie, the truth is that, like I told you yesterday, okay? I've been baked like literally for months. Like this is the only way to explain it to a normal person. I've been in a state of bipolar mania, is how to describe it. And as you know, I've been struggling with this thing forever. And I know that I can't hide shit from you. Like, it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me that, like, other people, like my cousin in Pakistan, they'll be like, "Yo, you love your wife so much, man." Like in your videos. And the guy's like, "Yo, like," so this says Sigmund Freud is a fascist. Okay, so they're probably going to take this sign here today. And I wanted to talk about this briefly because I never got to. I've been making all kinds of videos. So I make videos every week, like 2 or 3 times, if not more, sweetie. I've made videos like after they pick up the garbage. I make a video and then I put it on Twitter and like I put it on YouTube and then I'll tag the city of Markham on Twitter. Like twice or thrice I did this, and I emailed my landlord letting him know what I was doing on, and he said, "Please stop," right? Because he's he's very paranoid about getting in trouble. And he said to me, the one thing that you must avoid when you stay here, like he basically said to me, "Do your thing at the beginning, and like, but don't get me in trouble." Okay, anyway, so like this is just one of the things. Like this is 3 minutes already. I just wanted to make a note, sweetie. I know I look like crap. I'm gonna shave. I just got up. So, sweetie, I just wanted to make a note to let you know, like, that I love you. A, B, you love me. Therefore, C, because my mom used to say on me, God bless her, that love is always both ways. Prophet Muhammad said the same thing. That if you want to know how something like this, like if you want to know how what someone thinks about you, just look in your heart. If your heart is clear, then that person like is clear, like you're good with them. Now if your heart is not clear, then either you have done something or the person has done something. I'm just going to switch hands here, sweetie. Eh? So now this is my Android phone S20. I mean, it's cool because it's like, it's impossible for me to resist. Like, this phone has like 128 gigs of memory. That's like the most memory, like by far, I've had in my life, right? It's like, sweetie, I have a new phone guy, right? And this guy's replacing my old iPhone 6 screen for free. I'm going to help set him up on Google Maps, this kind of stuff. So I trade stuff to people. I might trade a bike for a phone. I might trade like a computer for a bike, this kind of thing. Like on the street, a phone is like 40 bucks, 45 bucks, right? A bike is like, it depends. I bought one of my bikes, like I paid 200 bucks outside of St. Jamestown. I'll show you. Like, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't know how much time you have. I don't have a lot of time. I got a lot of stuff to do. Now, Sigmund Freud was a fascist. Sigmund Freud was from, I got to talk to you about this, sweetie, because other people watch this stuff, and this is one of the messages that I want to get out there, right? My good friend Joe Morganti, okay, he and I worked in Oracle together in 2010, sweetie, and like he's one of my big fans. Like he's my biggest fan on here. Like he was my fan on my zAiDiBoy channel. Okay, guys, if anyone is watching this and you want to see some more of this nonsense, like basically, I have hundreds of videos on my original zAiDiBoy channel, and it's both mostly just manic crap. Like some guy who's bipolar, right? And he's like manic, and he doesn't want to stop smoking weed, and it's like, yeah, like I'm thinking in my own head about rephrasing the way I say it. Like right now, because I don't agree with Big Pharma and the medication, I think the medication they gave me in 2011 screwed up my life. And I think this is plain and obvious. I'm writing a book about it. I'm emailing like all kinds of people, and I believe that there's an epidemic of like mental health like disorders in our country, in our society. I believe it starts with the children. I believe that like big pharmaceutical companies, like this $1 trillion plus like multi-trillion dollar empire, they have essentially, like cigarette companies, programmed us away from medicines towards medication. Okay, so I was just smoking a cigarette. Like people think I do drugs and all kinds of things like this. On the other hand, I'm like fanatically I'm fanatic about nature and natural stuff, sweetie. And so these are some of my thoughts. I've decided to just use the phrase I am bipolar. Like for the last month or two, like among other things, what I'd come up with is that, God, my arm is hurting again. The funny thing is, like my phone arm is hurting. Like this hand is fine. Because you got to hold your phone out like this. If you guys want to YouTube, you got to use your hand like on your arm like Canada's NASA arm, or like a steady cam. You have to, if you want to make YouTube videos, like there's more or less two rules. Pay attention to what's in the frame and don't like slow it down. Stop shaking. Like you have to, steady cam is called a steady cam because the whole point is that you need to steady the shot. Right now, if you have a steady cam in a movie and it's going like this, like, and it's a horror scene and people are running, that's one thing, and they do these kinds of things on purpose. But if you're trying to make a YouTube video and it's moving around like this is not going to work. So you have to hold your hand like this. Now, Sigmund Freud, I want to say very quickly, okay, like for those of you who are listening to my conjectures, I'm a goddamn consultant, okay, and I read a lot and I listen to audiobooks and I talk to a lot of people and I watch documentaries, and I'm like, basically, there are people like Jordan Peterson at the University of Toronto who talk about Friedrich Nietzsche and things like this, right? Like Sigmund Freud, to me, is attached to Friedrich Nietzsche, is attached to the meaning of life, essentially. And according to Sigmund fucking Freud, the meaning of life is sex, more or less, because he was a sexually frustrated, if not homosexual, if not pedophilic old man. So when I wrote he was a FACiST, I was gonna write he's a goof. The question becomes, in sales and in life, okay, what is the primary human driver? Like, this is why Freud's important. Okay, Freud said that the primary human driver is, he said a couple of things. He said a lot of shit that was just total shit. And by the way, like Tai Lopez, okay, one of my internet marketing heroes, TaiLopez.com. I listened to a recent, like, I don't know what the hell to call it, podcast, webinar, live stream of his. The guy's sitting like in some 5-star hotel in Serbia eating a Serbian protein bar, like from a company he just acquired or some crap. Tai Lopez owns bodybuilding.com. He owns Pier 1. He bought Bulk Barn. In the last few years, he's bought more e-commerce brands, huge ones, than any other entity. Okay, Tai Lopez, okay, he's famous for a couple of things. He reads a book a day, is what he says. Like, whether he reads every word is irrelevant. Like, if you grab a book, I do the same thing. You go to Amazon.com if you're interested in a book, and you can basically get 80% of what you want out of that book just by looking inside it, reading the contents, reading the first page, reading the first few pages of the introduction and perfunctory remarks. First, if you get to the first chapter and you can read the whole chapter, then that's it. Like, in writing and in nonfiction especially, or essentially in nonfiction, like, the whole book should be summarized in the first paragraph. The whole paragraph should be summarized in the first few lines, this kind of thing. The first page should summarize the whole book. Like, it should be a constant process of unfolding. As a marketer, I'm stuck right now on the fact that the title is no such thing. Your title has nothing. It took me like 20 or 30 years to realize, like, the title of your blog post, the title of your YouTube content. This is one of the things I learned from Tai Lopez. Like, he'll put out a tweet with a tweet, or not a tweet, sorry, an email. Like, I read his emails, I get his emails, and I'll read them from time to time. And this is how I've learned about marketing, guys. I didn't learn about marketing from university, okay? And I certainly didn't learn about marketing from the corporate world, okay? Like, I have to say, it would seem, and it is the case, that they, quote unquote, as in the system, whatever the hell it is, okay, they want the following, and you're going to agree, and I'm one of these things too. I'm all of these things, and you are too, dear viewer and sweetie. Listen, employee, check. Consumer, check. Taxpayer, check. And borrower. They, whoever that is, like, the majority of, like, it has to be this way because the majority of people are not producers, okay? They're not. If you feel that you are a producer, like, first of all, there's 80% of people out there don't like their jobs. Okay, so if you're one of those people, then very simply find another job. And more simply, when you're working, if you are an employee, like, I came up with this like years after quitting the corporate world, and it's like people still give me attitude and like look at me weird when I say, if you have a job, send out resumes while you are still employed. This would seem to make sense. And the example I like to give is, you're working at the Bank of Montreal, you're working as a CSR, customer service rep, like some lady behind the till or some goddamn thing like this. Listen, you send out resumes to the other big 5 or 6 banks. So you work at BMO. Again, you're happy with your job or you're not. That's not the point. The point is, it's a process. If you are an employee, your process should be one of continually sending out resumes, continually seeking to upgrade your skills. The problem is, like, employees want 2 things. They want more money and they want to become managers. Like, this is not the way. Your job is to A, learn shit, and B, like, stay happy, more or less. Okay, so now, Sigmund Freud was a FACiST. Sigmund Freud, more or less, like, okay, so Tai Lopez, okay, he reads a book a day, he's on this podcast or this webinar, he's sitting in Serbia somewhere. The guy had Lambos 10 years ago. Like, in the world of internet marketing, having a Lambo, like Alex Becker is the guy who made it famous for people to have Lambos. Like, Gary Vee never had a Lambo, this kind of thing. Like, he's like, fuck these guys, right? So in any case, so Tai Lopez, internet marketing guru of mine. Alex Becker, internet marketing guru of mine. If you like anything I'm doing, you should watch and study these guys. Okay, this is about creating content. This is about making money online. This is about basically what Alex Becker said. Okay, like Tai Lopez, the reason I mentioned him is because he, on his webinar from Serbia or wherever the hell he was, he's got his Instagram, he's got like different phones and computers, and he's talking into his desktop, and it's like weirdness. And someone's like, hey, are you on Snapchat? And he's like, oh shit. And he goes over to the window and he's got another computer there, or like a goddamn Surface tablet. The guy works out 3 hours a day, and that's what he says to me. And that's one of the reasons I work out like 2 or 3 hours a day myself now. I don't like care. And because he does it, I know this is normal. It's not normal for an average person to work out 3 hours a day. Right, sweetie? So this is turning into a long ramble. I just wanted to make a quick note for my wife. She's very worried about me. Everyone's very worried about me, like my family, my friends, and people I'm working with, right? I separated from my wife at like the start of this pandemic, not the official start, but like basically when it broke out into the wild, like 2020 March, we started fighting. And 2020 April, we separated, like this kind of thing. She kicked me out of the house. Like she's paying, like it's under her name, like whatever, right? So we were living in Calgary, and it's like she's paying the rent, I'm paying the rent, we're working together, like, and we're living together. My wife owns like property outside of that. Like Alex Becker teaches this, and he taught this years ago. And I tell people, and they look at me weird. If you own a house, you should not live in it. I tried to explain this to my landlord. Why? I don't know. That's what rich people say, or at least that's what Alex Becker says. He's got a line for it, which is rent where you live and own where you rent, something like this. It's all about renting. When you rent your house out entirely, you either get a property manager or you figure out how to cover the numbers, like your property tax, okay, your goddamn rent, of course, like mortgage you need to cover as an owner, property tax, and then incidentals like fucking tenants fucking things up, and you got to do repairs. And the point of a house, I suppose, is to generate equity, like slash income, right? If you're living there, it fucks it all up. And ultimately, the point of a house, like there's like tax considerations as well, right? If you own multiple houses, if you own a lot of property, like, listen, I'm just going to say again what Alex Becker says. You can go to YouTube, and you should. You're there right now. Just go to the search bar, type in Alex Becker, and then type in rent to own or something like this. You are meant to rent where you live, and if you own a goddamn house, you're meant to rent it out completely. You're not meant to live there. Who says this? Rich fucking people, successful people, not me. My wife does this shit. I'm a renter. Okay, so that's what that is. Anyway, so Sigmund Freud. Okay, this is important, and I, for myself and others, need to put this out on the record and finish my train of thought. It's 17 minutes. I just wanted to make a quick video. My wife is pissed off. She basically told me, like, yesterday, guys, that it's over. She's coming back to town, like, early October, like her birthday. Sweetie, I hope you don't mind. My wife's birthday is on the 3rd of October. I gotta move out of here by the 1st of October. I gave the landlord my word, or I told him this and that. Like, to be honest with you, I'm too fucking busy. I'm just too fucking busy. Like, finding a place is not a big deal. Like, when my wife's in town, it takes me a day. Like, cause the main thing is moving the shit and then going visiting places. Like, finding a place is easy. Like, I look like crap right now. I'm just gonna shave, put on a shirt, and buy a tie. Wait, hold on. I may not have a tie, but like, you know, you do things like this. You get a nice shirt, a nice tie, nice pair of shoes. The geese are flying south, for the winter. Guys, Woody Allen said presentation, or rather showing up, is 80% of success. As a marketer, the rest of it is presentation. Okay, they have this thing in the job world. They say, show up for an interview like dressed like you are at your job. This kind of thing. That's total shit. You got to dress the fuck out of this interview. You got to wear like shiny shoes, a tie, and you got to smash their eyeballs in. Like, if you show up dressed like fucking Ralph Lauren or whatever, that's what you want. Okay, like, and like me, like, I'll be grooming my ears and my nose and all this kind of bullshit, guys. Okay, so Sigmund Freud. There's another guy that came from fucking Vienna too, or rather Austria. Nothing against my Austrian friends. Adolf Hitler came from fucking Austria, and then this fucking guy, Sigmund Freud. And so therefore, like, these are all talking points to get people thinking about things. Like, if I say the guy's a fascist, he's actually a fucking goof in my eyes. But this is to get you thinking, because the real fascist was Adolf Hitler, who came out of goddamn Austria, right? So I say then, all we get out of Austria is fascists and Nazis. That's a line of mine, like going back to like a year ago when I was in jail. I used to shout out of my cell, like if someone would piss me off, I'd call them a fascist. Like the jail guards and the psychiatrists or social workers, nurses, anyone. Like, I want a blanket or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, fuck you guys, I want a book and you're a fascist if you don't listen to me. Like, I gave these guys like a hard time for sure. So now, Sigmund Freud's a fascist. Guys, the question is, what is the primary human driver? What is the like, so this guy's driving, right? And it's like, I get up in the morning, okay, I get my coffee, and my primary driver, I don't think about shit. I need to pray and I need to work out. And when I'm working out, my eyes are shut a lot of the time and I'm meditating. If I do not do this, I've gone. As far as the rest of my day is concerned, like, my job right now is paying my bills and figuring out my wife and I's situation. Like, she's in Colombia right now. She's got an apartment downtown. We had plans to move to Vancouver, like, and this has been going on for 18 years, right? And in the meantime, we lived in Minneapolis, we lived in Seattle, we lived in freaking Calgary. We live now in Toronto, we lived in Colombia for some time, in 2008. Okay, so Sigmund Freud says the following. More or less, like, so Tai Lopez, okay, on this podcast, he's got this podcast, okay, like this live stream, right? And I refuse to let this thing go, and I'm going to talk it out. Okay, so I was watching TaiLopez.com like last week, couple of weeks ago. He's got this 2-hour long web stream called, this is what it's called, like, this is the title of this thing, Making $100 Million a Year in E-Commerce. And he makes more than that. He's like at 250 or some fucking crazy crap. Like, and like, he's showing you live numbers and all this shit. He's the real deal. Everyone knows he's the real deal. Like, and people come after him for different reasons now. He's one of the guys who says this, for example, that if he had to do it again, like, $5 million is a good net worth because nobody comes after you, is what he says. His net worth is like 50, 60 million. On paper, your net worth should be 5 million. Right? Because that's what he says. Like, I'm not a millionaire, and that's what that is. Like, he mentioned Sigmund Freud's book, Civilization and Its Discontents, on this webinar, on this web stream. Okay, so again, like, Tai Lopez, I hero worship. Okay? Tai Lopez hero worships Elon Musk, this kind of thing. I hero worship Alex Becker. Alex Becker hero worships Elon Musk. I hero worship Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk follows me on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. He followed me back. Like, let me just make this clear. I followed him first. Okay, this should be clear. I sent him a link to a video saying, bro, need some love. And next thing I know, he's following me. He never messaged me, none of this shit. We don't know each other. I just want to make this clear. Alex Becker and I do know each other. This guy messages me like on Twitter and WhatsApp, and I tell him to fuck off. Like, seriously, Alex, if you watch this, I don't know why you would waste time with a loser like me, bro. I'm not going to talk to you. I refuse. If you send me a course, Alex Becker basically used to sell courses online. He had a Lambo, like an orange Lambo in the background. He's sitting in his garage, right? He's the guy who made it famous for internet marketers to have a Lambo, by virtue of having this beautiful orange, like rust orange Lambo in the background, and he's sitting there in his garage. He's got a professional mic, and he's the real deal. And he basically he became rich doing what I'm doing now, and famous or whatever in internet marketing. So Alex Becker, like, with his iPhone, this is an Android S20 again. I do have an iPhone in the shop. I urge you to think about making money with your iPhone. Making money or making content. Alex Becker would show up like on your YouTube feed like this with a mug. And he'd be like, stop, like, look, check out this mug. You see this mug? Pretty simple, straightforward stuff, right? And we're going to show you how to sell a bunch of these on blah, 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 your own Shopify store. And we're going to set it up for you and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to do all the fulfillment and all this kind of bullshit. And he sold a course that I bought, Market Hero, which is that you get in touch with people who have Shopify stores and do their email marketing for them, because no one does that. And email marketing, like if you own an e-commerce brand, 30%, ideally 20 to 30% of your revenue should be email marketing. If you have an online store and you're not doing email marketing, you're just leaving money on the table. So primary human driver, I'm trying to explain this because there's kids watching this. I don't know if my wife is going to continue watching. She may just tune in, see that I'm not like frothing at the mouth or whatever, and then just like go and do her thing. Guys, I keep looking at the sign. I want to remind you and myself that when you're making these videos, you need to look at the camera. You need to look at the camera. It makes a big difference, right? So the sign, Sigmund Freud is a FACiST. Sigmund Freud versus Friedrich Nietzsche now. Friedrich Nietzsche famously, as everyone knows, said that will to power is the primary human driver. That's it. What that means, I don't know. I'm trying to get a hold of my friend Robbie Bhatia, the philosopher / human resource guy. Okay, he worked for Human Resources Canada for years, and now he's like a headhunter, or he's got his own thing. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't talked to him for years, frankly. And we were recently in touch because of this Friedrich Nietzsche video I put out there. And he's the guy who basically I go to, like in real life, like Jordan Peterson online. I don't know Jordan Peterson in real life. Jordan Peterson got me hooked on Friedrich Nietzsche. And Robbie Bhatia, my man, hey bro, I'll never forget your favors, okay? And this guy, my friend here, my philosopher friend, yo, he hunted, we like, this goes back 30 years. We lived in Kuwait together. Growing up as kids, our dads were professors at Kuwait University. My dad was an associate professor, whatever. Yo, and we were there for like 10 years. And like they had this beautiful residential campus. Like, and all the kids at our school were jealous of us. And we were a bunch of friends there. And we had a stadium and clubs. And like we were skateboarding and there's fountains and tennis courts. And all this thing was huge. Like probably about 80 acres or so. And we grew up there in Kuwait, and we were skateboarding, listening to heavy metal, playing Monopoly, playing Risk, playing Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, so my friend is the reason I'm here in Toronto, because he told me for years, come to Toronto, why don't you come to Toronto? And I finally came to Toronto, and I stayed with him for 2 weeks. He never ever asked me about rent. He never asked me about any money. He never asked me about shit. I stayed at his house for 2 weeks. This was November 2009. And I basically got my job at Oracle. Like I keep telling people that it just takes 2 weeks to get a job. If you're watching this and you're having trouble with your job, I can help you. Okay, like if you're a regular person and you watch any of my videos, understand that I am available to help you, and I'm going to do it for free. And I'm going to smash all these goddamn stereotypes on your goddamn head. Jobs are easy. Making money online is easy. Okay? I can help you with like relationships too, by the way. Like picking up girls is easy. Yo, telling girls to fuck off, that's not easy. Yo, you may notice like this punch here. I was in a mad fight the other day, and this goes back to the weed. Guys, I've stopped smoking weed. If there's children watching this, weed and drugs, they lead to death. They lead to destruction. They lead to... If any kids from my center are watching this and you think I'm some kind of cool guy, this is me getting punched, okay? And my lawyer right now is working with the police here in the city, okay? YRP, York Regional Police. I'm in trouble with the cops. I came up here like I'm already in trouble with the Toronto Police Service, okay? And I got like this case that's going back case, but it's a case, right? And I'm on probation until next March 2023. I was meant to be on good behavior. Anyway, like I was gonna ramble a bit more and go inside. I want to end this at like the half-hour mark. Sigmund Freud said that the need to feel important is a primary human driver, and then sex is a primary human driver. Okay, and so he got everyone fixated on sex. Prophet Muhammad said that if you're an old guy, and you're horny, okay, this is not the way. Like, I'm 47, I don't even think about sex. This guy has got 60-year-old and 80-year-old people. They want to get high, they want to have sex, they think life is about pleasure, they think this is what they think. Oh, well, sex has to be the way because, we're having babies and then this is good for the species. Well, stupid fucking people having babies is not good for anyone. Okay, so that's my goddamn comment. Sweetie, I don't know if you've watched this far. I'm doing fine. I'm going to shave. I got to go here and there and get things done today as usual. I've got a new client lined up in Moscow, okay, and he's gonna be my main guy, like to replace Steve or Pam or Xavier. Xavier, like, you're blaming me, but this guy's a liar. He calls himself a billionaire. My wife is pissed off because I fired one of my recent clients. Like, you can check it out, bit.ly/crypto piracy capitalized. Okay, I started writing a book for this guy, and he was gonna pay me $2,000, and then he just fucks off and he starts calling me names or whatever, or maybe I started calling him names. I gotta go, guys. See you later.